Alright, so I played a game recently called Mage. This is a pretty enjoyable point-and-click game, but at this point I feel a bit spoiled and believe it has some flaws when it comes to the structure of its pacing and overall direction. And since I played it right after Cabernet, they are somewhat intertwined in my mind. Anyway, what is it about? A teenage life is a difficult one. The choices are many, yet nobody truly knows a thing. After all, how could a person make a choice that would guide the rest of their life? One might believe whenever adults have it all figured out. Truth is, they all live day to day, making it up as we go. And young Illy is given a choice to visit her aunt in Transylvania. But what sounds like weeks might turn out to be much bigger and much more important. Yeah, that was a bit pretentious. Anyway, what did I enjoy? Well, I hate to admit it, but I've enjoyed all the sappy nonsense. The story at times gets emotional, and despite being 100% predictable, I was still sucked in. And I did not want to be. Great example of that is the family of Geists. The two brothers refuse to talk because of what happened to them. As far as their importance to the story goes, they are basically irrelevant. Mention a vendor in an RPG. There you go, that's how important they are. Yet, this story, how emotional the voices were, how well animated it was, I just can't hate it. Speaking of, this game could probably be used as some sort of reference for fledgling artists, because it's staggering sometimes. My personal favorite is the street in front of an institute. The background art in this game is incredible. At times I've wondered whenever people working on this even wanted to make a game, or just got together one day and went crazy with their own ideas, clearly inspired by folklore, history and, let's be honest, Harry Potter. So they just went ahead and drew all that stuff. Sometimes I didn't approve of the designs, I suppose, but that's a very subjective thing. And of course, then maybe could have done slightly higher resolution drawings for the characters and blah 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 blah. But all of this works. The whole thing looks and feels like an old Don Bluth movie. Truly, if there is one thing to praise in all this, then it's art. 10 out of 10 on that, if I were given a score, which I am not. But that makes for a good way to put it. And I also like the voice acting. It's not necessarily gonna sell the game like the art would, but people here are clearly experienced. My particular favorite is Harry, the innkeeper. Something about him being in a constantly pissed off mood while the player keeps popping up and annoying him made for a very enjoyable dynamic. I just wish there was a way to make him cookies or something. Or just have him pop up in the end and be himself. Because he was just a treat. Like, Viserion is okay too, although he sometimes throws in some words and phrases which feel a bit out of place. But yeah, I did enjoy listening to these people. Fairly sure if there was no voice acting, the game would lose out on a lot on the immersion. I mean, there are like 5 or more NPCs per each screen, which sometimes randomize into different ones. And each of those NPCs either has lines or has Illy comment something on them. That is just a lot of voice acting. Just imagine how many screens there are. Anyway, negatives. The pacing. The sheer volume of quick traveling back and forth between like 3 spots over and over and over. Like I said before, the inn pops up too many times. Which is not too bad because Harry is enjoyable, but, you know, Viserion's bookshop might as well also be the second player's house with how much time is spent there. But there are so many areas around this place which all look interesting, yet there is at best one quest NPC per each area. There's simply zero depth to the world. Nothing changes either. Can't have something happen and people now deal with it. The only sign that the world is changing is in the way there talks with Codrin. Or Codrin? I'm bad at remembering names. The chill dude at the institute. And the amount of times when the game tells the player to explore Rakus, only to instantly get interrupted by a message delivery. That is an extremely sloppy way to design a game, and it's a giant part of it. I mean, even WoW style of fetch quests is more dynamic. I kept getting the feeling that the game designers wanted it to feel more open-ended, like the player gets all these choices what to do and in what order. But it's all literally 100% linear. At best, you could maybe do some objectives in a different order, but that's it. At one point, I even remembered that the Botanical Atlas had something I just talked about with an NPC, so I stepped to a book, but nothing happens. I can't just take the herb and do what I need to do. I need to talk about it to some NPC, then mention it to another NPC, who then enables the trigger from the botanical atlas to work, which then enables a spell usage or a short trip to get the item to revive the herb, and only after that it can be revived and I can take it. Yeah, how many steps was that? It never gets this clunky again, but the whole game felt similar to this. Clunky, short hindrances which get spelled out in the quest log and instantly bypassed. It didn't seem like I needed to think about anything. It didn't seem like I earned anything, like I completed some puzzle. It's just go here, do that, go here, do that, over and over and over again. Goodbye, Ilya. Anyway, that's how it goes. And another thing, I almost forgot about it, the spells. I've been excited to get them, but apparently they are very rarely actually used. And whenever they are used, so many are completely pointless. Like, there's a spell to summon a fiery puppy. That doesn't exactly do anything, but it looks good. Every spell is actually well animated, and sometimes it interacts with the terrain, but yeah, it was entirely unnecessary. Anyway, so where does Cabernet fit into this? So the thing about Cabernet is that it doesn't look that good, again, except the biting cutscene. Damn, is it good. But the story has both side quests and the main story, meaning not completely linear. And sometimes there is a great payoff, sometimes stuff expires, and there are choices. Choices which make sense and aren't just do the right thing, or be mean. Still, it is a little basic, and I'm assuming again that they didn't have much time or budget. However, it felt the opposite here. Whenever I felt was strong in Cabernet, was weak in near Mage, and vice versa. I wish the teams working on these games would just come together and create something beautiful, because I do believe they can. All of us have something we are better or worse at than others, and that's especially true here.